video to dive into a little bit about position, what I've seen in races and as a coach, and how I think that a lot of people can improve their time trialing position in triathlon and duathlon specifically. So a lot of times I'll see, a lot of age group triathletes and duathletes with, hands low on the bar, kind of upright, high head, just because you're trying to maintain a comfortable position through the 56 or 112 miles that you're doing that. The best advice at first that I can give, if you have not done it, is to get a triathlon bike fit. And one person I can recommend in South Florida, I just call him Dr. Johnny, and I'll put his info, his Instagram somewhere here, and then his info down in the bottom. What makes him pretty useful is that he's also, a physical therapist, and to apply those principles to a bike fit, especially now for someone like me who's had back injuries and all that, but still wants to maintain an aggressive position on the bike no matter what. That's really kind of the experience that you need. Now, if you don't have a Dr. Johnny, you can find a bike fitter that specializes in triathlon bike fit. There's a variety of options with retool, full motion capture. There's all kinds of things that people can use to do this. But at the end of the day, you should just do it. Just spend the money, get into the right position, and stay in that position for 2 weeks. Give it 2 weeks after a bike fit, and if you decide, hey, this isn't working and practical on the road as it did in the lab, then you gotta reach back out and say, hey, we need to adjust this, and tell them what you're feeling. I'm feeling pulling in my high hamstring. I'm not getting full extension on my right, foot, ankling is not occurring, things like that. And I get a lot of messages about that. I mean, I'm a coach. I've been racing for a while. I can give you a general idea, but I don't have the equipment here, nor am I certified to do a bike fit, but I can give you a general idea. So my biggest advice is bike fit, stay down. If you watch any race or have been in any race, you notice a lot of times when you're getting further into the race, or you don't feel comfortable, or you just don't feel comfortable on the bike, you're in the horns a lot. Up. Not good. Stay down in the pads. I got a comment on Instagram that, you're in the pads in a neighborhood. I'm always in the pads. Very rarely will you see me up in the horns. Not efficient, waste of energy. You're losing time each time you do that, and that accumulates over that course of 56 miles. So stay down in the pads as much as possible. Learn how to corner in the pads within reason. I'll corner in the pads. I'm just very comfortable on the bike, obviously, and I'm mindful from a time trialing aspect that I don't want to keep coming up and down. It's not an efficient use of energy, and you're just gonna lose time, like I said. Keep your hands high as comfortable for you. See a lot of folks with them down at the bottom as they maintain a high position. Try to keep your hands high and try to keep your head low. Think about like an airplane wing. The more efficient you are in this position, the faster you're going to go. You're going to expend less energy, and you're going to save time. The last thing I notice a lot of is there's a lot of movement, right? As you're pedaling, there's a lot of movement, and that's also, in my opinion, a waste of energy and inefficient. When you see me or any time trialer on the bike, it's very calm and still. You see the legs moving, but you don't see a lot of upper body movement. You may see the head come up a little bit every now and again to make sure that we're not going to hit anybody or anything like that. So, stay down, high hands, head low, maintain that position for as much as possible during, you know, your half or full Ironman or whatever race you're doing. That's the biggest advice that I can give. And then obviously, you know, helmet plays into that. I use the Rudy Project Wing. I had it wrapped to match my suit. And, you know, sometimes I'll wear the visor that goes with it. Sometimes I won't. It just depends. The visor sometimes bothers me. And then, you know, sometimes I'll just use, you know, my regular sunglasses when I'm doing that. So that's the best advice quickly that I can give you on maintaining a time trial position. If you have any questions about that, or, you know, want advice, or, you know, you think this is good and you want me to help coach you in the 70.3 in full cycling, running, and I can coach swim. You know, cycling is my strength. I also run pretty fast. But then all of my information will be down below for coaching, and to look at my website, and to email me if you have any questions about that. But if I'm going to coach you, we're going to work on the position, being as efficient as possible on the time trial bike, and saving that energy, because you don't want to be too aggressive. There's angles here that you don't want to go past. There, you know, there's all kinds of factors that go into it, and that's why you need to get a bike fit. But if we can save time on the bike, we won't have to work as hard on the run off. You know, I'll help you get your transition times down. It's very hands-on. I only coach a small number of triathletes, and I have a full stable of cyclists. But, you know, that's kind of my plug for that. If you want this kind of experience as I transition, you know, to more full-time coaching, and away from competition. I think this is probably going to be my last year competing at a high level, and then maybe I'll always do it for fun. But, you know, that's kind of where I'm at. The last thing that you can do to improve how you do on the bike is performing functional bike-specific strength training. That could look like, you know, plyometric step-up. I like to do Bulgarian split squats. I like to do, you know, glute bridges. I do a lot of things with bands. You know, side step with the band across my ankle, go back. I do a lot of core work, lower back and back, you know, and light shoulder. So, you know, a lot of folks shy away from strength training because they feel like they don't want to build muscle. I think that you have to do strength training to build, one, power on the bike, and then two, to have the stamina to maintain the position for, you know, 2 hours and 15 minutes or whatever that is. So it's important to do that. And I also do a lot of balance board work and Bosu ball work, and I'll crouch down in a squat position, and I'll rock back and forth to work on my balance, and to work on, you know, those smaller muscles, and you know, just to get everything used to being in that position. And it does take time, even after a layoff, to work yourself back into that position, to have the endurance to maintain it. So that's my other recommendation. You know, as far as strength training goes, you do want to do some hypertrophic strength training, you know, being in the rep range of 8 to 12, lighter weight, functional movements, focusing on correct form. And then you also want to put in some heavier strength training where you're doing 1 to 5 reps, focusing on form, but this all has to still be functional, and applied to the bike and running. And so that's advice that I think that is important, because I don't know how many are doing functional strength training. I think they're in the gym doing, you know, strength training. But keep in mind, you also want it to apply to what you're doing on the bike, swim, and run. and then, you know, getting enough protein and nutrients to build that muscle, and, you know, recover so you can get ready for the next. And I like to also group strength on the same days that I'm doing my interval work. So Tuesdays, Thursdays, I will do strength training. I'll just make them a big strength kind of day. You know, you're doing strength work on the bike, you know, and then you're doing strength after the bike. And so you kind of package that all together, so you still have a quality interval session on the bike, and then after you have a strength workout to kind of improve that. Wednesday you recover, Friday you recover and adapt, etc. You know, and then you move forward and you get stronger. You get stronger on the time trial bike. You know, we're on this the longest, and so I think it gets the least amount of focus. I think a lot of focus is on the swim, obviously, because of the form and the work that it takes to do that efficiently. I think a lot of people focus on the run, but I don't think a lot of focus, other than riding, is given on the little things you can do to improve your time trial position. And that's where, you know, I also have OCD, so I'm very obsessed with finding the most efficient position. I help my riders find that position as well. And I feel like I'm very good on the time trial bike. I'm probably good on all these bikes, but I'm the best on this bike, just because I just want to find the most efficient position possible.